Do 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 do. Don't worry. Do 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 do. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Do 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 do. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Do 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 do. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Do 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 do. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Do 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 do. Be happy. Do 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 do. Don't worry. Be happy. Bravehearts, Urbanites, Coach Mad Hatters, Vineyard Creatrix, Crimson Velvet VIPs. There's something going on with the Vineyard Creatrix. I almost feel, because I pause every intro, it pauses right there. I think that's an indication. Now it's beginning to feel like it's an indication to dig in a little bit and fortify the identifying traits of what a vineyard creatrix is. Right now, to simplify it, because I'm not getting ready to go into it right now, but we'll simplify it a little bit and say, think vineyard and then think creative. So, what if you were a creative person with a residence at a vineyard? And so you had something like a timeshare B&B styled frequency at the vineyard as a creative. So you could go out on your balcony of your private sleeping quarters and look at the scenery of the vineyard. Watch nature do its thing. You were able to have a clear front seat view of the sunrise and the sunset. You were able to align your sensibilities with the natural flow of a 24 hours. You heard the birds sing. You heard the rooster crow. You fashioned the unfolding of your day according to the natural harmony, the natural frequency of sunrise set. You understood what the witching hour was. You wasn't spooked by it. You knew that if you got up at 3 a.m., that was your animal spirit totems beckoning to commune with you. There were celestial messages waiting for you to correspond with it. The terminology happiness would take on a whole new meaning. It would not be the lopsided view that says you got to be positive all the time. Your happiness dwells in understanding that there is a balance to this thing, and your light and your dark has to be harmonized in your light and your dark has to be harmonized in order for actuality to take place. I saved the best for last. This is the published memories of my great uncle Gil, my mom's uncle. I speak about him several times, but I don't think that I highlighted this jewel in the year 2022. And I had already promised myself, mainly because this is the only published piece that I know of inside of my family tribe, inside of my familial tribe. This is the only published piece I know of. And seeing as that that is my arena, I connect to it quite a bit when it's time for me to align how I identify myself, value myself, gain clarity about all of my means to wander in the numinous, to not feel any kind of way when the sassiness that wants to show up about my love for words and how it is that I take it very seriously, or the things that will grab my attention and keep its hooks in me until I have comprehended the fundamentals about it. My love for audiobooks, my in tune with documentarians and narrators and storytellers and orators. So, in a sense, to put it lightly, yes, my great Uncle Gil will forever be one of my superheroes. I think more of my kinfolk need that in their life. I often wonder about those that grow up with the individuals that are celebrated, and I mean um, that are the neighborhood celebrities. I'm not talking about Hollywood celebrities. I'm talking about the celebrities that come to the cookout. Those that you know, those that you can call directly. I think we have more of those than we bargain for. It seems like that there is this silver lining inside of family tribes that we are honestly missing out on. I know I have a few celebrities in my family. And not celebrities because they ran here entertaining folks per se, but that's nothing wrong with those that do that. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not talking about those though. I need to differentiate for the state of this context, for the declaration of this independence, this intrapersonal independence. But even those that have made major accolades within their careers, on the surface, they just look like everyday we everyday people just look like everyday people get up and go to work every day or get up to create every day. And they have these talents that inside of their genre, inside of their nook of profession or hobby or amateurship or museship, folks actually show up and applaud and adore and affirm and endorse. And we honestly could be at the dining room table every Sunday at Big Mama's and not realize that they are incredible, like really truly incredible the way that they are. And I'll take my oldest son, for instance, and my nephews. Some of my nephews, let me say that, they have this bike life quality. And I'll even take it to my first husband, if we will. The drag racing world. Yeah, my husband is that guy. My first husband is that guy. He's that guy. And it rubbed off on my oldest son. And so in the bike world, my oldest son is that guy. That's what I mean when I say that. And mind you, like usually those that are of that status don't necessarily walk around and be at Big Mama's Sunday dinner boasting about the stuff that they do. Like unless you have membership to their Instagram or you are part of you subscribe to their YouTube or whatever, you really don't get to see them in action because you may not navigate in those spaces. And you know it's wonderful when other family members can come to you and say, yeah, he's good. He's really good. Like he's known out here in these streets for the remarkable way he handles that talent. So then you wonder, like, okay, so who's archiving this greatness? Are we taking the time to celebrate those that we can actually call up and say, come sit on the porch with me? And I will say that this is a particular new point of view that I'm exploring, actively exploring. Let me say that because it has been toggling back and forth in my sensibilities for a while, but actively exploring it like, you know what? We are going to begin to archive as a family, keeping the masters of the achievements of our bloodline. Because you know somebody else is doing it. Somebody else is archiving the footage. They are preserving the muse likenesses and the frequencies that come through this time, this space and time. So then I wonder why we do not celebrate in all its royalty those that are leaping and bounding. So all of the books that I showed in the intro um, are the books that I have been engaging, I want to say for the last 24 months on and off. Now I know I'll get some, oh, you know, hey, listen, no, I didn't. I ain't gonna, how in the world in this state, this one stay right there all the time. How did I not? Do, 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 do. Yeah, we can't miss that one. Come on now. And slowly but surely, I've been tapping into and I've been stitching and patching. So it's like a patchwork with regards to my research and development phases right now. Very rarely do I read a book from cover to cover because I go searching for stuff. And one of the things Brother Panic used to always say, oh, was it Brother Bobby? I think it might have been in Eunice somewhere. It's like, okay, tap into the table of content. Like understand what it is that you have in your hands. I think it might have been Brother Bobby. Anywho, um, it was the greatest advice because it's like, do not weigh yourself down. Do not weigh your expectations down, figuring that when you get a book, you have to read it from cover to cover. No, you honestly can just populate the bookshelf, and when your internal frequencies, when your interior dialogue brings it up, you already have it readily available at your fingertips, and you are intuitively guided through that content to pull out what you need. Was it Brother Smalls? Oh my gosh, I know it was one of them. I know it was one of them. And so, and I can't, it's been such a while that and the minute heard it, it latched onto me. Where it's like, you can have 4 or 5 different books open. I think it was Brother Panic. Anyway, like you could have multiple books open. It was Brother Smalls. Follow the context. Follow the silver lining uh by which the or was it Brother Blue Pill and Brother Red Pill? Oh, this is interesting. And that's almost like I want to make this a session of name dropping. Like I want to name drop. I want to give recognition to those that I've quietly sat in front of, even though it was on a virtual platform, and they literally gave me a noggin to my life back. Talk about dropping clues and cues. And they always seem to be divinely timed. Anybody that I've just named, I always seem to sit in front of them and whatever it is that they're talking about, and they provide me with exactly what I need and what I was looking for. And I may, it may be to the point where I hadn't checked in with them for months, and then all of a sudden, boom! And I'm not talking about the notification chime. I'm talking about the internal chime, and their name will pop up or an image of their face will pop up or something that they said the last time I checked in with them will pop up. And it's like, let me go up here and see what they're talking about. And lo and behold, I kid you not, 1,000%. Whatever it is that I had been studying or was investigating or even stumped with, I go sit in and check in with them. Bam. Abracadabra. Open says me. So I say all of that. And I think I might have missed the point. Something tells me, I don't know. It's just, hey, listen, I didn't like plan for this one. The session that's being posted before this one, I planned for that one. I didn't plan for this one. It just was like, okay, we're going to share the books. We're going to give Uncle Gil his delightful recognition, which is going to become an annual thing. It might even become a quarterly thing. Not sure yet. Still trying to figure that out. But in the midst of also all of that, what I did was combine two of my decks, and I threw in a few little noogans of a third deck. And so I was wondering, I was wondering about um, the life of the creative, the life of the mystic, the life of the oracle, the life of the orator, the life of the urban soapboxer, the life of the artist, the musician, the songwriter, the conductor, the composer, the songstress, the songstress, the vocabulary, the lyricist, the beatboxer, the MC, the graffiti. Oh, I bumped into a graffiti artist about a week ago, and it's escaping me because I haven't truly become familiar with him yet. But he came up on my YouTube feed, and I am in awe with this artist. His whole technique. And I love graffiti. I've always loved graffiti, mainly because I'm a visualist. And so graffiti does, yeah, that just makes my world better. The fact that it is being criminalized or um, dismantled, like it, as if it's not a master original, is beyond me. I still don't understand about that. That just strikes me odd. But anywho, let's see what happens. Just real quick. We're not gonna be here long. I just wanna. I for one, I'm breaking in the deck. I'm breaking in this new deck because this is almost like a new deck. Imagine when things are cross pollinated, which is another thing that I want to talk about, but that's going to be for the next segment. And we're going to be talking about cosmic chemistry and cross pollination amongst the muses, the oracles, the intuitives, the muses. Did I say the muses already? I don't know. I got a thing for muses. I really have a thing for muses personified, those that have reincarnated. I can almost tell a muse from the moment I see the muse. I can tell. I can tell folks with strong muse like tendencies, those that walk around with incredible inspiration and don't even know, just by what they got on, inspire folk. Just by the way they show up, inspire folk. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Let's just see. And I'm trying this new. I've never combined my decks before. Um, and there's another thing. I have this. Oh wow. Okay. So are we really going to? I know you. This is the Nine of Swords. Are we really going to be tapping into all the things that worry us? That makes it decent for me to say, oh, let me say this too. Ah, did I say this already? So, of course, the intro were the majority of books that were non melanated folk. In certain terms, I think that that's a good thing. Brother Bobby made a comment several times in several lectures about the people who were cosmically appointed to be the custodians of content, and that, and I really wish I could find a clip that simplifies what I'm saying, because I'm paraphrasing, and the way he said it made so much sense. By which, how is it that all of our stuff is in these museums? Oh, yeah, five of five of wands, page of swords. All of our stuff is in their museums. Whether it was, well, most of it was spoils of uh, war, or the rewards of pillaging, or what was it called, conquest. Their little trinkets of conquest. So, uh, they it's now for display. The victors have these momentums on display that continuously tell the story of a set of ancestors that, yeah, rock that funky joint. Like, they went in like a thief of the night, and, yeah, killed everybody, burnt the majority of the stuff, and took the rest of the trinkets. And they're now in these museums that, I guess, history has erased the means by which these things were accumulated. Uh, I personally believe that that is the same thing with the hijacking of a people's narrative, the burning of the pages, the burning of a history, the burning of a legacy. And so, yes, it would not be surprising that the Nine of Swords is the first card that comes out as I speak, or that the Five of Swords would be directly behind it, or that the Page of Swords would follow it up to say, we got to begin talking about the things that influence one people and break down another. The same fucking trinket can be a symbol, can be a emblem or symbol of victory to a set of people who's looking at it, and the very same emblem, symbol, or trinket, another people can look at and remember the slaughter and the torture, like the naming of streets. Let me tell you something. I went to, and it baffles me to no end. I went to a middle school, Andrew Jackson Middle School, Suitland, Maryland, and only just 2 years ago, I'm finding out about the namesake, the persona non grata of the middle school I went to, in conjunction with people that looked like me. Let me say that. And we up in school don't know a lick of none of that history. And seeing as that those schools are going to provide the narratives that shine them as victors. And so all of this time, I'm honestly figuring King of Pentacles. Now, the King of Pentacles showed up in the last segment. In the last segment, we were talking about this right here, the dude with the coins, and I say dude because it's masculine energy. So the masculine energy with the coins, the one with the pentacles, it's all on this one right here. This is the energy that I am waging just a little soft bet on. I'm not, and I will say, just so we can keep things straight, um as far as astrological archetypes, or even zodiacal archetypes. So this is Earth, elemental, because it's pentacles, it's physical. Um, Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. Not speaking in terms of anybody's sun sign per se, but the sun sign is the indication that you have a direct channel to this energy. So maybe a portion of whatever you do may be contributing to the overall energy of this showing up with regards to me speaking about creatives and their place in the world and how they are extraordinary, deeming them highly needed and required at this time. To me, the folks that I named earlier that fall into that category, they are the VIPs of this catalytic, is that a word? This catalytic, that don't even sound right. This great shift, this incredible shift. Um, I think they're going to be the ones that lead because um, other epochs, it was led by logic. I think it's going to be led by heart this time. And I think and I feel that uh, there's a rhythm nation. Jay Jackson talk about it. That's going to overturn all of this Seven of Swords energy. It's going to overturn it. It's going to look it in the face. It's going to observe it and analyze it. And it's going to require that it answers some questions. Now, the Inquisition is going to be on the other foot. Remember, what comes around goes around. Yeah. What goes up must come down. And even if we're talking in terms of energetic frequency, chakra centers, and all of that other kind of stuff, we'd be failing to relieve, but we'd be failing to remember and believe that what goes up must come down. And so the last great inquisition was all logical. It was all strategic. I'm gonna wait for a moment to see what the next card come out before I say what I feel. But it was led in logic the last time. It was led in logic in all of the history books and the naming of the streets and the libraries and the museums and the grants and the funds and the foundations. All of them were named after folks that slaughtered my people. Yes, no, no, okay. Yeah. So, it's like how is a people that seems to be weaved into every society on the globe going to continue to take this in the ass like this? And I honestly don't say that with no malice. Because it really is an acquired taste to be able to handle such things. And when it is pushed upon you without no consent, so creativity comes in all types of shapes, forms, and fashions. And I won't even say that is subjected to non pain because I've seen some of the most creative, most record breaking pieces created through pain. Like there's a foundation called, I think it's called From Broken Heart to Art. I think that's what it's called, From Broken Heart to Art. From Ashes to Art. From ashes to I don't know. I'll try to look it up. But anyway, what they tend to do is encourage folks to create through their pain to see what happens because it is still a frequency that can be transmuted. Um, Anything that would constitute Seven of Swords energy can be transmuted uh, by way of the receiver. Some of this pain just exists inside of this third dimension. It's here for it. It's part of the landscape. It's part of the territory. It is part of the terrain. The Eight of Wands. It's part of the terrain. It was never meant to just sit. Like the ingredients, I would say this is my very best example of my point. I love Caesar dressing. I love Caesar dressing, but I don't like anchovies, not by themselves. So anchovies would be the signification of my pain. And Caesar salad is my example that I'm going to use with regards to transmutation. What it could be if we begin to just allow things to unfold naturally and pay attention to the way that it unfolds versus judging whether the way that it unfolds is to our satisfaction or not. The way that it unfolds in its raw natural in its raw natural state, observe that. Gather your answers from that. See what that's about. See what that be talking about. I'm trying to go see what that be like. Okay. Well, that might be, we might this might be good. I like this. It feels good. Um, it still feels a bit weighty, as if the deck has a lot to say. And it's interesting how I can tell with my decks. When my decks are light and fluffy and airy, then it pretty much tells me we are pulling from a clean slate, and that things are pretty much lighthearted. And this isn't because I have two decks together that I feel this way, because the same thing happens with this deck, and this is a full deck with the um, all of the consistent cards. This is just one deck, and this deck right here, and this deck always got this from the last segment, the King of Cups, which reminded us in the last segment that it is very, very important that we lead by heart this time. Gotta lead by heart this time. But I said all of that to say that deck sometimes get a bit weighty too. I can feel my decks when it feels weighty like that. It almost makes me feel like a balloon with water in it. There are things that it wants to say, and there's even been times when I've been in the midst of a reading, and in the beginning it was very, very heavy and weighty. By the time I was done, it's light, it's airy. You can tell. Folks who handle cards on a regular basis, they can tell when their deck is weighty. They can tell when the deck has something to say. Yeah. So, I want to say that that's about it. Maybe another card for closing. We can get something to wrap this up properly. I wanted to say delightfully, but everything not always delightful. We have to make sure we understand what we dealing with, and just because we ignore it, or I don't want to deal with that, or I don't want to talk about that, or I don't want to look at that, it doesn't mean it's going to go away. It still exists. It's still here. Seven of Wands. And let me just real quick, let's do this. Seven of Wands. So we can see what it is that we are closing out on. With the public success of the Six of Wands, competition is inevitable. This card represents the struggle to maintain position. Creative. Oh, what's on the bottom of the deck? The Magician. If you can see it, because here, this is one. Look, and I'm just going. I know folks who had the cards going to know what deck it is when I show you this. So you already know that the print is fine. The print is very fine. But yeah, that's the Magician. Very, very delightful. And the Ace of Pentacles. Is the King of Pentacles about to come on through here for real for the creatives too? because that also ties into how it is, and I think I spoke about this before, that how it is that the right brain hemisphere, the folks of the right brain hemisphere, always got to be scrounging and scraping and begging to keep their missions going, to have the supplies and equipment they need for their manifestos, to even be taken seriously, knowing that that part of the hemisphere is just as worthy and valuable and needed as the left brain hemisphere. So, creatives are magicians all day long, whether they identify with it or not. They are the ones that dwell behind door number one, which is the magician. When we're talking about the 21 doors of the major arcana, there's a lot taking place with creatives. It really is a magical thing to be a creative at a vineyard. Like you have residency at the vineyard, and that particular atmosphere inspires and provokes, and it's genuine and it's ingenuitive. And something tells me King of Pentacles gonna come through. Gonna come through. Now, this Ace of Pentacles might not take care of everything, but it is going to allow the vineyard creatrix, male or female, to continue on with its work, its life's mission, because your art is needed, your songs are needed, your music is needed, your dance is needed, your performances are needed, your poems are needed, your rhythm is needed. So yeah, I think that was pretty good. I think that was pretty good. I was thinking that I was going to uh, make this like a little mini bibliography and put the list on down in there and the description and all that kind of going on. I'm not sure yet. That feels labor inducive, but it might be a labor of love. I'm not sure yet. I'll see how it goes. But I think that this was a good test run for this deck. I haven't named this deck yet. I got a name in mind. I have a name in mind, and so I think the next time I show up with this deck, it's gonna have a name, and yeah. And even right now, it don't even feel as weighty as it just did, but it still got some weight to it. So I don't know. I might do another session right after this one just to give it its opportunity to speak, but I'm not sure yet. It's almost time to go eat. It is Thursday, September 8th, 2022. 12:21 p.m. DMV Standard Time. DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia Standard Time. And I say this all the time because the way things unfold around here is different. The folks that are homegrown around here, we've been raised a little different. There is something about that DC frequency. So, or that DMV frequency. Let me say that because I do think the metropolis is what it is because of the metropolis. It's not just about DC by itself or Maryland or Virginia by themselves. It's the combined, it's the collective energy that makes it so fucking sexy. So, anyway, here's to the evolution. Here's to the pollination. The harmonization of chemistry and compatibility, the the presence of complement and complement, complement with an E meaning completion, and the complement with an I meaning accommodation and grace and gratuitousness. So until next time, beloveds. I think I'm gonna start using that word a little more. I don't know why. It just seems like that's such an elder term. I do wish you well.